part of the V Bohem is just being irresponsible, doing drugs all day, being an opium eater, laying on your day bed, kind of in a reclined position, waiting for the poetry to come to you to be. But, I work. This is work. I'm trying to push this out. I'm trying to get the story down. This is the way that I do it. This is the way that I write and compose my prose in diary form for posterity. And give me a job doing it so I don't have to. I mean, I'm ready to DJ and MC some weddings if you want to pay me to do that. I'm a videographer. So I can, videograph your poetry events. I don't know. I think I might supposed to be working tonight, but I need some kind of breakthrough. The people seem to respond to what I'm doing. Maybe not the big shots or the gatekeepers, but the people out there. It's been a lot of ups and downs. Let's just say that. There's been a lot of highs and lows recently. Not getting paid on Monday was kind of a fucking kick in the nuts. But hey, that you got to roll with the punches. You know what I mean? Like, that's just life. Here's some hard advice, some hard truth about life. You got to roll with the fucking punches, and sometimes that means, it doesn't always break your way. Like I said, I've been lucky the last 2 years. I knew it wasn't going to last forever, but I feel like if I can just get through to about April, February is always hard, in New York especially. It's just, I don't know what's going on astrologically, but February is never a good time for me. It's always when my girlfriends break up with me, the weather sucks, my toothaches erupt. It's just not a good time for me. It's right after my birthday, which is, I don't know. I'm going to push as hard as I can and just try and make something happen because it feels like it's about to happen. I got a text the other day. This girl pitched a story about the open mic to the Village Voice. I've been horrible about texting people back. Just get on my live stream. This is the best way to communicate with me. Get in the chat on my live stream. If you really want to know what's going on in my life and you really want to talk to me, if you really love me, you'll watch my live streams and my vlogs, because that's really where my heart is. And I'm on public access TV every Monday. I told this to Greta and Caitlin last night, and it kind of blew their minds. I never mentioned this, but I've been on public access since 2014 in Brooklyn. And I'm on every Monday night, 11 p.m. in Manhattan, 11:30 in Brooklyn, Scenes from a Life, the vlog. I put my vlogs on TV, and I have for a long time. Check them out. Every Monday in the local cable network market, the local New York market for cable television. I dominate Monday night. I'm a regular Chris Gethard. I'm like Chris Gethard, except, I don't know, devastatingly baller. Chris Gethard is like a little too, I don't know, Ritalin, normie kid for me. This culture needs a goddamn poet. This culture needs a goddamn fucking bard. And we have some great bards. We've got Lana and we've got Taylor. We've got DaBaby, of course. But we need, come on. Come on. I'm from Central Casting. I'm ready to pull my daisy in GQ and Esquire. I'm ready to be on the cover of Vogue. Seriously, you're going to put Harry Styles on the fucking cover of Vogue? Before me? Big mistake. I could have been Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield? Pathetic. Yeah, I don't know. I went into the poetry tunnel. And because that's where the juice is. And anonymity, I think, is beautiful. I think To struggle is noble. That's the Catholic in me. That's why I am a masochist and I worship. I mean, I allowed this to happen, I guess. You know, that's what a adult would say. I could have got a job 6 months ago. Easily. I could have made arrangements, you know. But I put all of my time and energy in the panic of the last, 3, 4, 5 months into the open mic and into just trying to blow a culture up, like an inflatable fucking floaty or something, and put the raft beneath these shipwrecked artists. There's all these artists that are just drowning and they're isolated. They're being eaten by sharks, banks, rent, finance, investment, venture capital, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk. Elon Musk has got $300 billion and I have no money in my bank account. That can't be possible. That can't reflect accurate value. Like, I'm not saying, I'm just saying proportionately, I should have some money. If Elon Musk has that much money, I should have like some kind of percentage of that. I'm on Twitter, I've got 321 followers. I've got one person watching my live stream right now. That's got to be worth. So I'm keeping people alive. I'm giving people a reason in the greatest city in the world. And this city needs culture. They should be giving me like a fucking huge grant. New York City should they should be putting like fucking pictures of me on the fucking. No, I'm just kidding about that one. But I should get some kind of like culture grant or something. Just for like, there's not a whole lot going on unless you're into bad Gatsby jazz. If you're into jazz age lawn parties and like sexploitation, if you're into like impressionable, lazy young drug addicts being sexploited, then it's a golden time for New York. If you want to go to like, I don't want to talk shit about anybody specific, but it's a golden time for bad poetry and selling your body, which is fine. But I don't know. We're all sex workers. We're all in the service industry. If we're artists, unless our parents are rich and famous, or we have a fucking college, we joined the CIA and got an MFA from the FBI, then you can eat and have shelter. But unless you play ball, you have to live out of a bag with a rattlesnake next to your bed, surrounded by fucking speed freaks with broadswords who sleepwalk and do strange things. They don't even know what they do when they're asleep. I'm like, am I going to wake up and like it's going to be Judith and Holofernes? 12-year-old Scotch. Thank you, 12-year-old Scotch. Thanks for watching. Yeah, I think we just got to keep flapping our wings and we will fly. That's the, you got to believe, right? Got to believe. I mean, we've lived in a dead world since 9/11. I really believe that. We've been zombified. Our brains have been eaten by the mall and by bad culture, by corporate mandated culture, like Paul's Casablancas putting his son Julian Casablancas in like command of a generation at like the Gap and Abercrombie and Fitch. And good for the Strokes, whatever. But like, we need hard scrabble, germinating middle Americans to seed and inseminate the major metropolitan areas on the coasts and grow, because that's meritocracy, sort of. And it's talent, right? You don't need talent. You haven't needed talent for like a long time. People think the 90s were like the greatest music ever. That's how bad things have been since the 90s. It's like talent is like optional In fact, it's controversial. Maybe it's better if you don't have it. It's better that you don't do anything. It's better that you're a Kardashian. Nothing against the Kardashians. Open mic coaching. Great idea. How to start your own open mic. I mean, here is what these open mics are doing wrong. First of all, it's a show. You should have fun doing it, or otherwise no audience is ever gonna watch. You might have people who come to the open mic to perform, but you're never gonna have people watch if it's not actually a show. So it is a show. Like, to be honest, I would rather do a fucking open mic at this point because I don't have to book anything. People text me and I just say, great, come out and do it. And everybody's fucking talented as hell. So, like, that helps a lot too. I mean, don't get me wrong. Most of the open mics I've ever been to are pretty amateurish. Our open mic is not amateurish. Like, I don't know how or why, but, like, there's almost never anybody that goes up and I'm like, this person kind of wasn't really ready or something, like, whereas, like, a lot of open mics you go to are kind of outsider art and they're charming in their own way, but, like, these comedy open mics in particular are like toxic poison. They're not fun. They're abusive. Everybody's mean. They're all making fun of you. Like, I've been to 2 comedy open mics in the last 2 weeks, and we got roasted at both of them, and we, like, disrupted the whole fucking thing because they just couldn't handle, like, whatever we were doing. I don't even know. But, like, their open mic has 8 people in it who all hate themselves, and our open mic seems to be a fun time for people. So the biggest thing that helps is mixing everything together. Like, the comedians are in a tough place because all of their open mics are just other comedians. And so it has degenerated into this thing, this culture where it's just like pay to play. They're just exploiting people who want to be comedians. They have this idea like, oh, it's 10,000 hours culture. Like, I just need to go out every fucking day and do fucking 3 open mics to the same 6 jack-off comedians who are totally poisonous and toxic and pay money to do it. Oh, yeah, $5 every time I go up. It's like they're being ripped off. The industry is the people who are running the open mics making money off it in the clubs who are charging for drinks. Like, the comedians are the customers. They're not they're not the business, right? They're not the ones that are getting paid to, like, for their product. They are paying to, like, get better. But it's like, you're not really getting better necessarily because, like, I don't know. I love going to open mics to 5 people. I love it. So I think they're beautiful everywhere. But, like, I think these comedians would get better if they got in the mix with a room full of normal people. That's the goal, right? I mean, I think that's the reason why people come out to the Monday open mic is because, for one thing, it's Monday. It's a night where there's not a whole lot going on anyway. It's a nice room, obviously, but it's full of people. So you're basically paying to be on a show. And, like, that's pretty cool. I haven't, personally, I've done a lot of fucking performances, and there haven't been that many where I've been in front of, like, even more than 20 people. Most of the performances I've ever done, there's probably been less than 12 people or 15 people at most. And so, like, the fact that you can go out every Monday and perform for, like, 40 or 50 people is, like, that's good experience for anybody trying to be an entertainer, particularly a comedian. Like, you need to hear laughter. If you're just going to an open mic where there's 4 fucking incels, like, they hate you. They don't want you to succeed. You are competing with them, and, like, you're not getting positive reinforcement. You need a room full of people laughing at what you're doing to, like, feel like, oh, yeah, this did work. Just because one of your comedian friends laughed at it didn't mean it worked. Like, that's what I see when I see comedians doing open mics. It's like they're testing their material or something. It's like, good, go do that, but, like, you got to do a fucking show. That's the goal. The goal is to get in front of people and like get shit moving, not to like stay in this open mic limbo forever, you know? Which, don't get me wrong, I've been in for about 15 years. I started doing open mics in fucking high school, basically. And I love them. I think they're where the real culture is. They're folk art. They're like where the anthology of American folk music. Like Harry Smith would be at the fucking open mic. Like with his, Alan Lomax would be doing field recordings at the fucking open mic, because like that's where the voice of the people, yes, the voice of the people emanates and gets spoken at the fucking open mic. And I'm into that. Fuck the elites, because they've bought the culture. The Black American Express people have just sewn up the culture so they get all the attention. Like, none of these people are interesting. None of the Kardashians, not Hailey Bieber, nobody at the Met Gala should even have a place in our culture. They're all disgusting, rich scum, and they should be murdered with swords by the open micers. No, I'm kidding about that. That was me going blue, and that was the open mic is not a no, but okay, so having everybody get together, it's like that's like what culture is. It's like the comedians, the musicians, like if you go to fucking Bonnaroo or whatever, there's a comedy tent. Like fucking Tenacious D, like there's a lot of overlap between comedy and music, and poetry is a way to feed all of that. At the fucking last waltz, they had Robert Duncan reading. They had fucking Michael McClure. They had poets. They had Diane DePrima. They had poets come up during the fucking concert to read. Like, it's natural for people when they go out to experience like a ritualistic gathering to like want to see like a cavalcade of a festival, of various kind of disparate dance and song and poetry and music. Performance, right? It's natural. It's a variety show. That's the other big thing that like I'm trying to play into, is like vaudeville, or like in New York, right? Like fucking the Ed Sullivan Show or whatever. Like this was a variety. The Ed Sullivan Show was the biggest fucking show on TV Sunday night, right? And it was a variety show. They'd have fucking Jackie Mason or Alan King, and then they'd have the goddamn Beatles. Then they'd have a Broadway number, or they'd have all kind of crazy shit, stuff you don't even see anymore, acrobats or whatever. Like, I think that kind of stuff, it's a magazine, it's a burrito bowl. It's a variety pack. It's a dish should have a main course, like a protein. It should have some vegetables, some sides. You don't want all one thing. I don't just want male stand-up comedians who don't really get out of their world enough. I don't necessarily need like a whole evening of that dish. Like, give me a little bit of asparagus, give me a little bit of potatoes, give me a little bit of salad, and then give me the steak or whatever, the steak frite. You need all these different ingredients. You need the wine, you need the water, the beverage pairing. You need the palate cleanser. It's exactly like being a server in a restaurant, to be honest. There's definitely a correlation between all of these things. Being a stand-up comedian is almost exactly like being a server in a restaurant, except you're serving a room full of people rather than just like one table. The table is a stage. That's how I used to think about it when I was a waiter. It was almost like hosting a little variety show for the people, or like talk show or whatever, like, Hey, how you guys doing tonight? Hey, I'm Matt, I'll be your server, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's the same voice even. It's that kind of announcery voice, you know. Oh my God, I've got 2 viewers. So I'm just giving tips for how to, well, somebody in the comments suggested that I give clinics on how to run open mics. I mean, I don't know. To be honest, like, a big reason why people show up because it's in Manhattan and it's in a somewhat famous place. So that helps a lot. You know, that helps a lot draw people. But, like, it's also New York City, so people want to perform. They want stage time. If they can get up in sort of like a more like casual, immediate way and get in front of 40 or 50 people, I mean, that's a big draw. I don't know why we need attention as human beings. I don't know why. This is something I've been thinking about recently. You know, running an open mic is like, that's the, somebody said getting in front of an audience is the biggest high. I don't know if it's the biggest high, but I guess you could think about it in that way. I did have a line in one of my poems, I think last year, about how getting on stage is better than sex. Doing an open mic is better than sex. In a certain, I mean, anybody can have sex, but, well, maybe not anybody, but people are afraid to get in front of other people. You know, I think that's a more common thing than you'd think. I mean, I would be nervous getting in front of 50 people, you know, if like it was just something I'd never been to before. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's just it's curious to me that that is essentially what we're selling, if you want to think about it in those terms. Is like you're selling here, you're going to be the center of attention and you get to like show your little talent or whatever. I think our generation, you know, like being sort of arrested development, not having grown up, had kids of our own, become adults and kind of taken on adult responsibilities, like we are still living in this place where like we want to be told that we're gifted, we're talented, we're special, we're going to be famous, we're geniuses, we're whatever. And so like going on stage, coming to New York, right, is a big part of that. You want to be like in the center of the action. You want to get famous. You want to make your life more than just kind of like an average anonymous, you know, office struggle or whatever. So I don't know. I mean, to me, it's like a batting cage or it's like practice. Like this is not intended to be the final thing for any of these people. The idea is it's just like your bowling league or whatever. Every Monday night you can come. There's going to be this community of people. They're all getting to know each other. You know, Lee Moore knows Mo David, and they all know, you know, Caitlin and Greta and Caitlin know. Peter Glissman hasn't been in a while. I've been meaning to message him because there's been a few people. I don't know if I made them mad or something. I mean, there's so many people that sign up and there's so many people that are a part of it that it is kind of hard to keep up with the messaging and shit like that and to make everybody feel like, you know, well, plus everybody wants to go on at a certain time. And if you can't do that, then they might get mad at you and, you know, never come back or whatever. So it's like, it's a lot of people. Not everybody's going to be happy, unfortunately, you know, and me, I only have so much bandwidth, right? So like even my patience will get cut short. I mean, particularly recently, right? Like this last week, the show was not as easy because now it's like I have, you know, I have all these extra pressures. I am homeless. I got to find a place to live, you know, I'm running out of money, et cetera, you know. I'm just trying to stay in it at this point. And I'm lucky because, you know, I know all of these people and they, you know, they're good to me. You know, like as I've been kind of focusing on like the harder aspects of my life recently, but there's been a lot of good as well. A lot of people have been very nice and supportive, saying nice things. One of the open mic people bought 4 copies of my chapbook 1 year for their friends. And I should, and like she asked me to inscribe them for them, so I made $20, you know, and my work is going to get out there. You know, people are going to see it. And one of the cool things about doing the kind of Sammy's Dot self-published printer chapbooks and the serial Cosmopolitan microdiaries is, you know, it's weird because when I went into Poetry Project, no one was really doing that. The first couple years I was there, no one was like bringing their zines in or anything. And, you know, it was something that I do at open mics and stuff and performances I do. I never brought it into Poetry Project because I just felt insecure. I just felt like, you know, if I bring this in, people are going to think it's not any good or something. But I'd always give them away at open mics and stuff. And one of the things that's interesting about it is usually a lot of the people that get one of the books will write their own book and publish their own book. They kind of see, oh, it's easy to kind of do it. It's just regular paper. If you can figure out how to print booklet style, it's pretty easy to throw one together. You can do it in about a day. And then you have a little book that you can give away. So, you know, this is something that a lot of people, this is what I want to encourage, you know, at the open mics. I've been kind of trying to make money off the books recently, so I haven't been giving them away. And I realize that's a mistake. That's why I started printing the paper chapbooks, because I can afford to give them away. Like, I'd like to get $5 for them, but I didn't used to charge at all. You know, it's like everybody else charges so much for everything they do. I just thought, okay, people will pay $5 for this, but like, I just as soon give it away just so people have some of my poetry that they take with them. You know, it's like, it's a good return on investment because almost everybody you give a book to reads it. And they always have something nice to say, usually, after. You know, multiple people I've given my books to will say, hey, I liked it, or whatever. And it's like, that means a lot. And if you're getting the work out there, that's more important than getting $5. You know, you're spreading consciousness, and you're giving them the idea, hey, I can do this too. And that, to me, is part of what, you know, I'm trying to cultivate and inspire. You know, that's the point of doing an open mic, is you're trying to light the fire in everybody there. It's not about, I'm the show, you're the audience. It's about, you need to activate yourself. You get up here, you do something, you put a book out, you collaborate with somebody, you know, book a show, put out a magazine. You know, that's the one thing that hasn't happened yet, really, is no one's really published a magazine from it. That should probably be the next move, but to me, the videos are the magazine. Like, I can publish everybody on YouTube. And so having all of the open mics on YouTube, like, that is the magazine. And I'm worried, like, if I'm alienating certain people, like, I never try to have personal weirdness that anybody that comes, you know, there's such little social contact. You know, when people show up, it's like you don't really even get to say anything to them. So I know a lot of people's, like, name and face, but I haven't really actually had a conversation with a lot of people. That's one reason why I did the parties at my house, and one reason why I live stream and try to keep the YouTube going is because it's a way to kind of gather and extend the kind of message, or just like, here's some, you know, if people want to get to know me, they can watch my live streams or something and see, like, okay, I can see what this guy's about. You know, at the open mic, I really only get a few minutes at the top of the show to, like, do something. So this is more kind of like my work. Even though I do look at the open mic as sort of like a grand kind of, like, it's almost like being the ringmaster, or it's like being Barnum and Bailey or something. Like, you're the Fellini of the big 8.5 kind of finale of, like, all the kind of disparate performers, the flautist and the juggler and the dwarf and or the little person and the whatever it is at the end of 8 1/2, that kind of parade. It's about kind of getting that to kind of like, that kind of Salvation Army band or just kind of impromptu band, just kind of jamming together and stuff. There's something very special about people. This is something Ann Waldman I was looking at in her book about perform. Comes from a root word meaning to perform a feat, get in front of an audience and to perform a feat, which I think is kind of an interesting way to think about it. Like you're getting in front to like. There's like a moment of like it's like you have to you do have to like take some kind of leap of faith or like do some kind of like trapeze jump or something to get over the hump kind of with the audience. You can't just go out and if you don't push and like do some kind of feat accomplishment. And so like your poem kind of has to like, take the audience or it has to move them. It has to pull them over some kind of like, and demonstrate some kind of like prowess, I suppose. The feat would, some kind of exceptional, not everybody can perform this feat maybe. Has like a La Strada quality, how he breaks that fucking chain with his chest or whatever. That's like performing a feat. La Strada, the kind of like the caravan of, kind of itinerant entertainer, gypsy, almost like carnies. Or Bergman is like that too, right? Seven Seal. Like the traveling kind of like jongleur, harlequin figures. That's us. That's these things are eternal. The cabaret. That's something Philip Marinovich said. He's like, it's cabaret. I was like, yeah, you get it. It was amazing. He said we've gotten Mondays to shit gold. We've gotten Mondays to shit gold. I'm like, I'd like to see some of that gold. I mean, yeah, it's the poetry day. Monday is the day. It's like you're salvaging these kind of disparate parts and making an incredible ship or something out of it, or like an incredible meal, So I don't know. It's just every performance, even the open mics where there's like 5 people, they all feel like rituals to me. And like if you're on your path, like that's the goal, right? Like if you're an entertainer or whatever it is you do and you feel like you want to get on stage, like I was, there was these stories that Bob Hope was telling, right? And like think about all the fucking, I mean, I know Bob Hope is not maybe the coolest, but like think about all the fucking shows this guy did over his life. And just like, he's an iconic image or whatever. He was saying, in his earlier days in vaudeville, they'd take trains places and they'd do shows to literally nobody. They'd have to set up the thing in some country-ass fucking town in, like, the middle of nowhere and do their show, and there'd be nobody there. And it's like, there's ups and downs, Like, when you're on the path, some days you win, some days you lose. Some days are hard, some days are easy. Some shows are great. And, you want to have a great show every time, but, like, it's going to be what it is, and, like, you just keep the process going. You just keep moving forward. You keep doing the shows, keeping the thing alive. It's not always pretty, right? Especially in live entertainment. Like, there's going to be awkward moments. There's going to be moments where you can't think of the right thing to say. There's going to be moments where there's going to be shows where maybe, and the audience is different every week, too. That's a big part of it. Sometimes doing it every week, I've just gotten used to kind of being in front of however many people. So, like, now I can just kind of, like, plow ahead because my philosophy is that just, like, I'm there to send the energy out to them. You know, like you got to give the energy to the audience, and then maybe they send it back to you. But a lot of weeks, you know, depending on whatever's going on, you know, like this week, there weren't as many people. A lot of people canceled. So it was like, there was still a lot of people, but it was like, it was a little more Swiss cheese than normal. Rest in peace, Richard Belzer as well. I want to mention that on the live stream. The Bells Babe. When I was in middle school, I wanted to be a stand-up comedian. I went to Barnes & Noble, and they had a few books about like how to do stand-up comedy, And one of the books was by Richard Belzer. And it's got all these pictures of him in it with his sunglasses. And one of the jokes in it, I remember, he said if a heckler, there were like lines to like do if like a heckler heckles you. And one of the lines to like take care of the heckler and like, you know, like kick their ass in front of everybody was to say, hey, if I wanted any more shit out of you, I'd squeeze your head. And I thought that was like the funniest fucking thing I'd ever seen. Well, I thought it was funny as hell when I was 12 years old. If I want any more shit out of you, I'll squeeze your head. I'm going to say that to somebody at the open mic. Try and heckle me, all right? Just try it. I'll make mincemeat out of you, all right? The Bells, babe. So rest in peace, Bells. We love you. I don't know. He was an influence, definitely his vibe. He was an MC. All the New York Times obituary and shit were talking about how he's an MC at the Catch a Rising Star. I think is what it was. Keith Newman's Catch a Rising Star. And so I felt like, oh man, maybe this is a message from Belzer. Maybe Belzer is trying to send me his MC energy. And I can learn from Belzer how to be a better MC. He was on Law and Order, I guess, for like longer than any fucking character in like TV history. Like Belzer's character has been on more fucking shows. That's insane to me. That Belzer is like this like TV legend, but he got his ass owned by Hulk Hogan. I know that. But anyway, so I should have said something about Belzer on Monday, but I fucked up. I'm getting better at working things into the show and kind of adding.